I'll call the meeting to order for the regular meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission for Wednesday, August 13, 2014. The second item on the agenda is approval, additions, or corrections to the minutes of the following meeting. The regular commission meeting held July 9th, 2014.
I would move that the minutes be approved as written.
I'll second that.
Motion been made by John, seconded by Joe. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The first action item would be the quotes that we received for the steel storage building repair, and Dale is here if you have any questions.
Dale, is that the building in the northeast?
Yeah, it's right straight out here.
Well, I think a couple of years ago, the bottom was kind of bad, and I think you said the doors were not operating correctly. I think that we should have repaired it last 2 years ago when I first saw it, if that's the one.
That's the same one.
We're finally getting around to it, Tom.
Good.
I move that we go along with Dale's recommendation of awarding the bid to Eagle Contractors.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion was made by Joe, seconded by John. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The second item is the Baker Substation switches. Todd is here if you have any questions.
Are these all automated then?
No, they are a gang-operated switch that you manually open, and that turns into your positive lockout point when you're doing any type of maintenance work for safety.
And normally we would handle this in the budget process. This year we have this outage scheduled with AT&T in April to get this work done. You have to schedule it that far in advance. And because the switch has such a long lead time, we're asking for the dollar. So this was a non-budgeted additional expense to this year's budget. But just in order to get it here on time, we've got to order it within the next week or so.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second that.
Motion been made by John, seconded by Joe. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Safety Committee report. Are the employees getting consistent with pre-operation checkouts for the equipment?
Starting to get a little better. We're starting to, they're kind of complacent, so we're trying to get it back
Right.
to doing
I thought there was a reason for bringing that up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he was here Monday of this week. He had a conflict today. But he'll be
Okay.
back next month.
Any other questions or comments? Line Superintendent report. Paul, I have a stupid question. What's the LBU?
Load break
That's
unit.
good.
Basically, it's, we use them as sectionalizers for isolating single phase lines off of three phase, so we don't disrupt power to the three phase system.
What was it again?
LBU, load break unit.
You knew that, didn't you?
As far as the IR hotspots, I know that's an annual inspection. So are we making progress on this?
Right, what we do is every spring, we actually bring a contractor in, they do all the IR inspections of the system, then they give us a report, and then that report goes to the line superintendent, and then the ones that we consider critical that we want to fix right away, we go ahead and do that right at that time. There's a lot of them that are just what we call watch items, so then the next year when we come back to them, we see if they've or stayed the same or gotten worse.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
How many of them are there out there?
I think there was 40-something this year, if I remember right. And I
Is
think
that,
about 15 had to get repaired right away.
An improving trend, or?
I think because of the cold winter, that number went up this year. And I think it'll, if we have another winter like we had last winter, I think it'll continue to have problems, but I think that was unusual, so.
And that's what, condensation then?
No, I think it's just the actual connection points of the different types of metals.
Expansion, contraction?
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Water Department report.
Talk about high chlorine levels. What's the story there?
We had high levels coming in, so you had to go out to the collectors and turn it down. Sometimes, for some reason, they may get a little stuck or something, get a little extra, so it's very rare.
So this was in the actual water going to the community that was high?
From the well.
At the well?
At the well, we inject a little chlorine.
Okay.
It was higher than, that's what comes with the treatment plant, right, Dan? Yeah.
Yeah, just.
So this was
Whatever,
at one of the wells?
right, one of the wells.
Okay, but it's not a chlorine escape type of situation? Okay.
Dale, when do you plan on starting your sidewalk project, do you know?
Probably in a week or two, he'll plan to start it, so.
Okay, thank you.
For collector 3, a pump had to replace. Now, did that happen to be in inventory, or was that a pump that was readily available?
It was actually a pump that failed prematurely. It's been in there over 15 years, so it had a good lifespan on it. And it failed, and it's something we had to order.
Okay.
We don't keep them on hand.
Did you get the final reports for the well clean on 1
Yes, we
and
did.
4? Okay. And how are the numbers looking?
They came back to 100% and actually somewhat a little bit better than what they were back in 2001 when they did the initial testing them before, so that brought us back.
If any of you guys are interested in seeing copies of it, just let me or Dale know, and we can email them to you or whatever, or iPad them to you now. But yeah, it's a drastic increase in the volume going through the collectors, so.
Looks like the water level at the tower is about 1 inch lower than last year. So is that just something that happened in the last month, whereas last year we were seeing the monitor it a lot closer? Now it seems like it happened all of a sudden, so.
You're using a lot of water now this month or whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Dale? Office managers report.
Joel gets another gold star for improved receivables. Just a question on this tripping state debt collection.
Yeah,
What's the elapsed time from the time we actually wrote it off to when it was actually collected?
well, it varies from account to account, basically. I mean, it depends when they file their tax return, where we stand in line as far as an actual claim on that refund. We may stand in line first. We may stand in line after 5, 6, 7 other municipal claims on that tax refund. So it's really hard to kind of give you a ballpark because it varies so much.
And what are the PSC administrative code changes and how might they affect us?
Well, the one that's probably going to affect us the most is in taking third-party service applications. In other words, a landlord calls and says, put service in my tenant's name. From when these changes come into effect, we'll be required to notify the tenant. So we're working with our software vendor to automate that process as much as possible. That's probably the major one affecting customer service.
Yeah, in the past, we could just put it in the tenant's name or the landlord called, put it in their name without checking with the tenant first. And
Right.
got notified them. And vice versa, I guess, would happen.
So not too much else.
Not affecting customer service, no.
Joel, would you like to add anything else for the Wisconsin Rural Water Association meeting that you were at?
Well, I think one thing that I found really interesting was the PSC's perspective on how various communities responded to this brutal winter with all the freeze-ups and how, you know, how various communities charged out the thawing of the services. So there were a lot of lessons learned, and it was interesting to hear how wide the gamut was from community to community as to how they treated it.
Any other questions or comments for Joel? Yes, Mike?
I don't have a question, I got a comment, and it's a compliment. A while back, I had an occasion to go to the front office, and when I walked in, there was a customer, and there's a young lady, I don't know who she was, Joe, but she was sitting behind. I never saw such professionalism in my life. Usually, when you see them, and sometimes they get syrupy, you know what I mean? And then there's other times they're blunt. But she was so smooth and answered everything that lady wanted that was in there and took care of her. And I want you to know that it was, you can compliment her if you can remember who it was. I don't.
Appreciate that, yeah.
That's all I have.
Director of Finance report?
Joel, or Jeff, do you want to make any comment at all about PSC changes?
I think for me, it was a good opportunity for us to be face-to-face contact with a lot of the PSC people where we're normally just via email or telephone call, to be able to get that answer a lot quicker and start building that rapport with those people. I mean, most of the things they discussed, we were already aware of. This third-party authorization, I think, was off everybody's radar, but it was good to be able to both hear about it from them and then have the opportunity to discuss it with them offline, just to make sure we understood what they were talking about and making sure the ramifications were what we were intending it to be.
Any other questions or comments? Information system report.
I got a question.
Sure.
In that first storeroom barcoding update, I know I don't have the greatest memory, but it seems to me that it took a while to get that barcoding up to date and everything going. Now all of a sudden, you got an issue.
Yeah, this is with the new system that we're gonna put in place, and we mentioned it during a commission meeting a couple months ago, and this is a free system done through Resco. So we're not paying anything for it, and we're just trying to get it going. Well, they haven't worked with our situation as far as how we're set up in the storeroom. So they ran into a problem where the software can't handle it. So now they have to go back, they have to rewrite a section of the software to make it work with us. So they are working on it though, I mean, it's good. It is free, we're not paying anything for it, and they're still working with us, so. So
We're
that's
still in the
a bonus.
ballpark.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Matt? Okay. Conservation report. Sean, it looks to me like you're up to speed. There was probably a 1 month transition to this position. Could you share with us what you're learning, and especially from the commercial accounts that you're dealing with, to try to get us up to speed where you're at?
Overall, I guess I'm learning how the overall process works here, from working with Todd, Paul Seabrook, on the line side of things with the Austin's project. Learning pretty much how to coordinate some of the projects, contacting some of the key accounts with
Okay.
some things like reconductoring services that Paul may need, or the line crew. I've been taking quite a few webinars through Focus on Energy and APPA, what they've set up, and that's kind of given me a better background, or I should say the knowledge and the jargon that is used in the industry, like refrigeration, what the frequency drives, things that I need further background with.
Does it appear there's resources available for you with the areas that you've got questions in?
There is quite a bit online, way more so than I would have anticipated.
Okay, very good.
And that's reassuring. The webinars with how the computer technology is going, it's helping me out quite a bit.
So you're getting the resources available that you need? Okay,
Absolutely.
very good.
The plan is to send him to the ABPA key accounts certification. Now we're trying to get it scheduled where it's not taking him too much away from the key account work, which we're either looking this fall or next spring at one of the institutes, so he'll be certified as a ABPA key account person, so,
Very good.
Yeah.
along with what he's doing online and stuff, so.
And actually, as of yesterday, I enrolled in 3 sessions that will be this fall that Focus on Energy is offering. And it's with commercial side of things, industrial, and Board of Education, dealing with the school systems. They're day seminars, so I'm going to attend those.
And they're on what, energy efficiency and
Yes.
conservation? Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you. Yes, Mike?
I notice here that they're scheduling J&R boring. Paul, Todd, are you happy with them?
They've been outstanding, very professional. Their paperwork is better than any other boring company we've had in the past. So yeah, the job they're doing with the bores have been outstanding too. So
We bid that work to different boring companies each year. When we were stuck using one, I don't remember, Cam was the guy's name, I remember.
CNC.
Yeah. This guy, as Todd indicated, this guy just seems to be, one, he dedicates more time to us and provides better service. He doesn't start a project and run somewhere else and come back and finish it later. He usually finishes it when he starts it. And he's just been a lot more professional, as Todd said.
That's good.
Any other questions or comments? Engineering supervisor report. You having any trouble keeping Moses busy?
no, I got him doing a lot of busy work. So he's been doing a lot of CAD drawings for us, and the last project they started him on is standardization sheets on like line crew equipment.
Okay.
And so he worked with Paul and a couple of the linemen in the last couple of weeks, including the storeroom and me, and came up with his first drawing, and I was showing it around, and I was so impressed. So I'm very happy with the work he's doing.
Very good, and he's having opportunities to go out on the sites as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yep, that's the beauty of a small company is you get to dabble in every little thing that's happening, so,
Very good.
yep.
Any other questions or comments for Todd? General Manager's report?
I do want to interject, since I've written this press aisle plant in the UP has went back and forth 3 times now. But anyway, you know, I had told you in the past that everybody had submitted their comments to FERC, to how they should rule on it. And then they came back, FERC came back on their ruling and said, we're going to do it the way the Wisconsin PSC wanted to do it, which was basically 65% of the cost would be borne by Wisconsin, the upper utilities in Wisconsin, which affected us the most, and then the UP, 45%. Pending that FERC ordered the MISO to do another load shed analysis just to verify that that's what they thought should bear the cost. Well, the load shed study came out Monday afternoon, and now it's reversed everything again. It's basically, provided this load shed study holds up to mustard, meaning people are gonna try to throw darts at it, the ones that got impacted more, but if it ends up holding up, then Wisconsin's only gonna see 5% of those $55 million operating costs of Presque Isle. In the UP, the rates are going up. They're gonna see 95% of that $55 million cost. Now, like I said, it's flopped back and forth 2 or 3 times already, but this is supposedly supposed to be the gospel when they do the load shed analysis study. So we'll see whether it holds up to scrutiny.
There's no chance they'll keep that plan online. Or put it online. I don't know.
No, because I've heard rumors now that they're actually, you know, they filed for the SSR recovery, which basically means they shut it down and they want all their O&M and all those costs recovered by the MISO. Now I've actually heard they filed with the MISO to close it down altogether too. So we'll see how that goes. The MISO still got a rule on it and FERC, so.
Okay.
On this CO2 emissions, are we as a Blue and MEUW pushing back on this?
Yeah. Well, so's everybody in the country, I think.
Right.
I mean, naturally, Wisconsin's goal is to roll back 34% by 2012, I think the number is.
Well, with 2012 as a base.
Correct.
Which is totally unfair.
Right, because
We've
there
already
was,
made it
between
20%.
2008 and 2012, just because of the economic signals in the industry and shale gas and a number of other things, utilities across the country had already reduced their carbon footprint by 15 to 18%, they think, just by switching from coal to natural gas. And everybody thought they were going to set the baseline back to that 2008, 2009 timeframe, and now they've ramped it ahead to 2012, so half the stuff that was done prior, all that stuff that was done prior, you get no credit for. So I saw yesterday that actually the legislator has asked the EPA to extend the comment period further, so I'm sure that they will do that, which will ultimately then push back their ultimate regulations on this. And then, you know, from everything that I'm hearing, that once the EPA does make it official and Obama signs it, that's when lawsuits will start. Because I'm hearing that everybody's going to be suing the government on this thing. There's a lot of problems with the EPA. One is there's no rewards for early adopters, which John had brought up. There's basically, it kills glue in a sense that we're buying that wind energy from Minnesota, but Minnesota's the one that gets the credit for it. So, and there's a lot of power plants in the Southwest where the plants in either Arizona or Nevada, and it's serving load in California, and they're getting dinged in California. So there's just so many issues with how the rules came down that it should be an interesting melee.
Not to mention carbon dioxide is not a pollutant.
No, depends who you talk to, but most people would say no.
Part
I
of
would agree, but
part of a necessary life cycle.
yeah, if everything, I mean, if it were to go through as planned, you would see electric rates across the country skyrocket.
Yes,
Yes, no doubt about it.
incredible.
Any other questions or comments for Jim?
I was thinking along the same lines as that renewable energy deal, where one state gets so much more and we get nothing.
Correct.
And that's all because of some of the decisions that EPA does, huh?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the present leadership and administration, and I think the president was banging his head trying to get something done on this platform in the legislature, and nothing was happening, so I think he finally told the EPA. And there are a lot of folks, when these lawsuits start, that basically they're just saying that the EPA is way overstepping their bounds, that they have no right to do this, and a number of other avenues, so we'll see how this plays out. I think it'll be, by the time it's actually, everything worked out, I think it'll be significant, hoping it's significantly different than what was approved by the EPA. Yes, but APPA is banging on their door every day, along with the IOUs and the co-ops.
Any other questions or comments? Scott Kellogg would like to share a message from the mayor's office.
Yeah, I'm Scott Kellogg, just for the record, I'm a common council person from the 3rd District, and I'm also on the Mayor's Council for Beautification in Wisconsin Rapids. And at our last meeting, they asked that I would come and share their thank you for purchasing and installing the hangers for the baskets downtown. I think quite often people drive past and take for granted that they just show up. And it takes governmental groups like yours and working with different agencies within the city to make a difference. And so they personally wanted me to thank you for the record and thank you on behalf of the Common Council as well for working closely with the Council for Beautification. And hopefully, as we progress over the years, Wisconsin Rapids will really blossom and turn out to be a beautiful place for people to live. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
It's a great idea, a nice addition to the community.
Yeah, it's great, wonderful, like you said. Yeah.
Okay, review accounts payable.
This Wisconsin Dehydration and Processing refund remaining portion of advance. Can you explain?
That would have been, they would have paid an initial upfront amount to have the service put in, whatever they needed. I think they needed some underground and a big transformer and all that stuff, so they pay the deposit upfront, and then any excess above and beyond that deposit, they get refunded to them. So new customers, when they start, have the opportunity to put up a letter of credit or put up the full amount of the estimate, and that they chose to put up the full amount of the estimate.
I have a question on page 2 towards the bottom.
Okay.
For Mohali Shaw Water, it's a composite sampler.
It's a sampler we bought for the filter plant.
Right.
And that's unit we use to collect samples when we do a retention tank wash down.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, that sampler basically helps us, the city, determine what to bill us for solids too.
Okay. Okay.
I got a question on page 4. Electric inventory. There's 2 spots, one for 20, I'm rounding this off, one for 24,000 and one for 12,000 or 11,000. Is that tied in at all with the electric inventory for Buren on page 2?
Well, it's basically what we're replacing in the storeroom from what we're taking for projects. That's what the electric inventory line is being charged to now.
Okay.
You know, sometimes those projects could be a capital project like Buren, but other times it could be a project that we're doing for a customer who, like Jeff just had that question where they pay us in advance, and, you know, that could be part of that too.
Okay.
I know we had a lot of wire orders this past month, and they're typically some of our higher inventory items, just because of the quantity we buy it in and how much it costs.
I was just noticing there seemed to be more and more in the inventories.
There's just a lot of projects going on right now
Yeah.
to replace the inventory. Usually our inventories, numbers are right around $1 million is what we keep in inventory, so.
I know I gotta get out of the house more, don't I?
Any other questions or comments on the accounts payable? If there isn't anything else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll do that.
I'll second it.
Measure since 10, I think we're ready to go.
Motion carries. Thank you.